have?
There's nothing in them.
Have you checked her underwear yet?
No, I just checked her clothes.
Padded bras can often be where thieves hide things, and panties, of course. What style of panties does she have?
I guess cotton bikini.
Yeah, you're gonna need to take those off. All of it.
It was the 11th minute of the scam phone call, and the restaurant's female manager, still in the dark, was listening to the scammers without question. At that moment, the fake police officer made an even more outrageous demand. He ordered the manager to put Becky's clothes in the car and wait for his colleague to come pick them up for testing. This meant Becky would have to stay in the car completely naked, with only an apron given by a kind colleague to cover herself. At this point, the so-called police officer said a man had to take over from the manager to watch Becky, so they randomly picked a male employee to take over the police officer's next instructions. For Becky, this was a huge humiliation. Soon, after the male employee took the call, the police on the other end simply asked him to rip Becky's scarf off and check her. However, this male employee had admired Becky for a long time, so he was very respectful to her. When the police made such an unreasonable request, he angrily questioned the officer.
Yeah, well, it's a fucked procedure.
Okay, you need to watch your mouth, son.
Like, I gotta leave in a second.
Okay, but
Let me ask you one more thing. Were you two ever an item?
Without wasting any more words, the male employee ran straight to the manager and told him, "This police officer is definitely not legit." However, when the manager heard this, instead of doubting the police officer's identity, she was more concerned about offending him.
So he says you have to bend over my lap.
In the end, he finally realized that he had done something terribly wrong. Soon, his fiancée, who was also Becky's manager, came over to ask about the situation. Without saying goodbye to his fiancée, the man simply turned around and left. What he didn't know was that the fake police officer wasn't done yet. He ordered Becky's manager to find another man to come watch Sister Song. Concerned about the restaurant's image, the manager didn't hesitate and brought in a homeless man. When the homeless man was ordered by the fake cop to remove Becky's apron for inspection, his reaction was the same as the previous man's. He looked completely shocked and incredulous. After all, in his mind, what legitimate police officer would ever make such a demand?
Harold, what are you doing out here? You're supposed to be in there with Becky.
That man's asking me to do things that ain't right.
What?
He's asking me to take her apron off and look at her. It ain't right. And it ain't policeman.
See?
Shut up.
Only then did the manager suddenly realize something was wrong. He quickly called the nearby police station. That was when he learned there had never been any theft involving Becky at all. They had all been deceived by the fake police officer. By that time, the fake cop, realizing his cover was blown, had already hung up and disappeared. Not long after, real police arrived at the restaurant. After the incident,
When they told you you had to take your clothes off, is there a reason you didn't just say no?
I don't know. I just knew it was gonna happen.
following an extensive investigation, the police eventually succeeded in arresting the fake officer. He was sentenced to 7 years in prison. This movie is based on a real case that occurred in 2004 at a McDonald's restaurant in Kentucky, USA. The girl later filed a lawsuit against the restaurant. In the end, she was awarded $6.1 million in compensation. A girl who had been missing for 11 years suddenly appeared in a small town. Her face was pale as she collapsed to the ground. 11 years earlier, she had been followed by a truck on her way home from school and then abducted, disappearing without a trace. The girl's mother, Gemma, rushed to the hospital after hearing that her daughter, missing for 11 years, had been found. The girl lay in the hospital bed, pale and colorless, but when Sam saw the markings on her arm, he knew this was his daughter. The next day, the girl told the police the full story of her kidnapping. Her younger brother Matthew sat there the whole time with his jaw clenched. He refused to believe that his beloved sister had suffered abuse all these years.
He hit me twice, and then he pulled down my skirt, and that was the first time that he raped me. He hugged me after, just put both of his arms around me, and he stroked my hair. He told me he'd always be my first.
Sam could no longer listen and walked out, struggling to hold back his emotions. When Alice was taken into the ambulance, she kept repeating one name. The name was Sophie Giroux. Sophie was the victim of another missing persons case. Back then, Sophie had also been taken by a yellow van, so the police knew they had to act fast. There was still a chance Sophie might be alive. The couple thought nothing worse could happen, but the nurse examining Alice delivered devastating news. Alice had stretch marks, which meant she had once given birth. Gemma tried to ask Alice about the child, but Alice firmly denied it, insisting she had never had a child. Gemma was deeply confused. Why would her daughter deny something like that? She didn't press further. Instead, she took Alice to her bedroom. After her parents left, Alice slowly moved her fingers, studying the room. In the end, a faint, barely noticeable smile appeared at the corner of her mouth.
I'm sorry, I don't know what it is that you want me to say.
Pourquoi tu me mens, Sophie? Tu comprends ce que je dis, n'est-ce pas?
Dad, I don't know what.
What's going on? Sorry to have troubled you.
Earlier, while Julienne was investigating Sophie's disappearance, Alice made a small, unconscious gesture while she was nervous, and it immediately caught Julienne's attention. The gesture felt strangely familiar to him. After returning, Julienne hurried to review surveillance footage from Sophie's school before she went missing. He discovered that Sophie made the exact same gesture when she was under stress. A thought slowly took shape in his mind. Maybe Alice was not really Alice at all. Maybe she was Sophie, who had also been missing for many years. Just as he was overwhelmed, some good news arrived. Alice unexpectedly agreed to Julienne's proposal and said she would return to the forest to look for the place where they had been held captive. Before they left, Gemma brought out a yellow scarf. She deliberately said it had been knitted by Alice and her art teacher, but Alice corrected her and said it was knitted with her classmates.
Does she seem different to you?
How could she not be after what she's been through? She'll get better.
Yeah, just when I gave her the scarf, she was...
What?
Nothing.
Under joint military and police protection, Alice carefully made her way deeper into the forest. Suddenly, Alice, who was walking at the front of the group, stopped. She stared straight ahead. In front of her was a perfectly square, hidden pit. The girl instantly became anxious and terrified. The military immediately sent people forward to investigate. To confirm his suspicions, Julien did everything he could to get close to Alice and started talking to her.
It was brave of you to come back, Sophie. I knew her parents when she was taken. It was a tragedy what happened to her mother.
At that moment, Sophie clearly became angry. She seemed about to say something, but the conversation was interrupted. She pulled herself together and let out a long breath, as if reborn. Once again, her small unconscious gesture did not escape Julienne's eyes.
So he says you have to bend over my lap. Come on. Come on.
One phone call was enough to make a girl take off her clothes, and this creepy man is about to show you how. He pretended to be a police officer and called the female manager of a restaurant. In a serious tone, he told her that there was a thief in the restaurant. He claimed the thief was the cashier, Becky. He said Becky was suspected of stealing property and that there was video evidence. He demanded that Becky get on the phone to verify the situation. When Becky heard this, she was completely stunned. She hadn't left the counter all day. But the so-called police officer didn't care about her explanation. He ordered the manager to search Becky's pockets. To prove her innocence, Becky had no choice but to cooperate. The search only turned up a cell phone, not any stolen money. After hearing this, the fake officer still refused to give up. He then told the manager to search Becky's locker. This clearly violated Becky's personal privacy. Even so, the search still found no stolen property. Next, the man claiming to be a police officer demanded a strip search. Becky strongly objected to this demand, but the officer seemed prepared for her refusal. He began threatening her, saying she would be arrested and sent to jail. In the end, thinking that getting it over with quickly would make it stop sooner, Becky reluctantly agreed to the strip search.